Work on yourself every day. Stay motivated. A man once said, in life, we have to choose between the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. That statement always seemed confusing to me until I started to take personal development seriously. You see, sometimes we realize that we are stuck in life, either in a bad job, a failing relationship, or a bad place physically or mentally. What's even more interesting is how we resist attempts to change, even when we understand that our current situation is bad for us. Most times, we feel reluctant, almost like there's something we would lose once we make important changes that lead to growth. And to be sincere, there are things to lose. For one, the sense of safety we get from being in a familiar place. You see, we humans are biologically wired to fear new and changing scenarios because they are unpredictable. We'd rather stay at a job we hate because we fear the uncertainty that comes with searching for a better one. We stay in a bad relationship because finding new people comes with fear and uncertainty of whether they'll accept us. Many times we are scared that we'll fail at a new attempt, even when we have never tried before. Ironically, when we refuse to make changes and decide to stay where we are, there is a deep sense of dissatisfaction that hangs over us. This disappointment often leads to sadness, anxiety, and lack of motivation, a sense of feeling stuck. So how do we get unstuck? By choosing one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. At the most basic level, this idea seems simple, but it is indeed very powerful. Choosing the pain of discipline over the pain of regret simply means willfully engaging in those difficult things that we don't want to do because we realize that they are necessary for our growth. As most of you know, personal growth and development always comes at a cost. Choosing the pain of discipline means consciously choosing to bear the pain of changing for the better instead of the pain of staying the same, especially when staying the same feels more comfortable in the short term. For instance, say you are overweight and you're trying to get into shape. Without a doubt, sticking to a diet is harder than not. In the same way, working out is far more uncomfortable than not working out. Now you can choose the short-term discomfort of sticking to a diet, or you can choose the regret that comes with having bad health later in life. You can choose to work out and have a fit body even though it will be painful in the short term, or you can choose to regret not getting the health benefits of a fit body later on in life. You can see this same scenario playing out in different areas of life. You can choose the short-term discomfort of financial discipline, or you can choose the regret of poverty. You can choose the short-term pain of working hard at your job, especially on days when you don't feel like it, or you can choose the regret not having a fulfilling career. Now, I honestly wish it was just as easy as saying it. I wish working out was as simple as saying it. Unfortunately, we both know that it doesn't work that way. We all know those days when every fiber of your body doesn't want to cooperate with you when you're working on yourself. I'm talking about those mornings when you have an important project or task to do, but you wake up and the last thing you want to do is get to work. I'm talking about those days when every fiber in your body would rather do anything but hit the gym. Or those days when scrolling social media endlessly instead of working on important projects is the only thing our minds want. On days like this, you feel demotivated, weak, and almost disappointed in your inability to focus on what's important. On days like this, it's easy for us to start questioning our sense of self-worth because growth is so positive that whenever we move forward in life, we get a boost in self-worth. Similarly, when we feel stuck or unable to move forward, our self-worth takes a little dip. So how can you get up and hit the gym on those mornings you don't want to? How do you put yourself in more social situations when you're feeling very shy and uncomfortable? How do you concentrate on that important project that you need to get submitted? There are several things you can do that, when combined, produce a powerful effect on your ability to stay motivated. The first is changing your perspective, changing the way you view things, especially in the present moment. You see that slight discomfort you feel whenever you are improving yourself is a signal, and how you interpret it affects how you move forward with the message. We can view the discomfort as a sort of problem, something to be avoided. That's why we browse social media instead of getting to work, or we remain at jobs we hate instead of working hard to change them. We probably view that discomfort as a sign we should stay away, and that's why we rather avoid it. Now, don't get me wrong, all of this is subconscious. It's not like you consciously think about not working out or staying in bed and browsing social media to escape self-improvement. It just comes to you as a subconscious feeling that takes control of your actions if you are unaware. Now, the key is to reframe this comfort as an opportunity. Instead of seeing it as a problem, see it as an opportunity for growth. That way, it's easier to engage in that disciplined activity that will improve our life instead of sticking to the same path that makes us miserable. Instead of seeing the gym as a problem to be avoided, we can view it as an opportunity to see how much workout we can get on a day when we're feeling low. Instead of viewing social interactions as a problem to be avoided, you can view them as an opportunity to see how much discomfort we can bear. We need to tempt ourselves with the possibility of winning every time we are faced with a challenge that makes us feel uncomfortable. We all know how fulfilling it feels to win something through hard work, and we need to tie that feeling of winning to our personal growth and watch our lives change dramatically. The interesting thing is, once we make the mental shift, we become motivated. When we begin to see growth as a challenge instead of a problem, we become enticed to see how strong we are in the face of that challenge. We get an extra boost of motivation, probably because of the competitive edge that exists in all of us. Once we know how to trigger it, we can use it to our advantage. Another important key to staying motivated to do important tasks is breaking those tasks into the smallest possible unit we are willing to do. I'll take a moment to unpack this so you understand. Whenever you feel unmotivated to do a challenging task that will lead to your growth, just reduce the size of that task to the smallest possible amount you're willing to do. For instance, say you're feeling too unmotivated to go to the gym, just reduce your workout session to the smallest possible amount you can do and make sure you do it. This could be just as low as 10 push-ups or even 2. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you teach yourself to take action when you need to, even if you can only take a small step. You learn to always move forward in the direction of growth, even if you are moving slowly, which makes you prioritize progress over perfection. This also makes it easy for you to move past the discomfort of doing difficult things. Choosing to do just 2 push-ups makes it easy to move past the discomfort of working out. And the best part is, when you get started, it is easy to remain in motion. No matter the task, working on yourself is always easier when you take that first step. Momentum kicks in naturally once you move past the initial effort necessary to take the first step. Interestingly enough, in every challenging task that leads to growth, the first step is always the most difficult. Once you get started, flow kicks in and you continue naturally without any discomfort. Another key is to ask yourself what the consequence of not taking action would be. Sometimes we get stuck in thinking patterns that make it easy for us to succumb to doing nothing because working on ourselves is more difficult. Being able to step back and ask what the consequences of inaction would be is a huge motivator. Just imagine how you would feel in 10 years if you keep working at a job you hate. Imagine how you'd feel in 20 years if you don't get in shape. This kind of long-term thinking helps us to get over the short-term discomfort that comes with working on ourselves. This point reminds me of a story I heard several years ago about an extremely shy man who hated social interactions of any kind. As expected, his love life was zero because he wasn't bold enough around people to even approach new people. Things got so bad that this man began to see suicide as the only way out of what had become a miserable life. He had made several efforts to be more outgoing, but he never seemed fully committed to it. According to him, going out and interacting with others always felt difficult, and most times he would freeze up. Many years later, he was able to get rid of his social anxiety, but he always attributed the change in his life to a shift in his perspective. He said whenever he approached people and he was about to freeze up, he would simply remind himself of the consequences of not approaching them. He would compare the dangers of changing to the dangers of staying the same. He would ask himself which was worse and which he could bear. As expected, he realized that change and growth were always better than stagnation. He said this shift in perspective helped set him straight. It also helped him overcome his social anxiety and increase the quality of his relationships. His ability to control his habits and behaviors improved because he changed how he viewed his problems. He was aware of the pain and difficulty of changing, but he was also aware of the dangers of remaining the same. He compared the short-term discomfort of discipline to the long-term discomfort of regret, and that helped him change. Working on ourselves is never easy. That's why it's called work. But it's always necessary if we want a good life. A good life won't come free. We have to pay a price for the good things we want, whether it's money, health, relationships, or a fulfilling career. Ironically, there is also a price to pay for not striving for the life we want. That price is called regret, and it is a heavy one. And the only way to avoid it is to stay on the course of self-development, to work on ourselves one step at a time each day, to put in a little effort each day to chart a good course for our lives. It won't come easy, but it's definitely worth it.